It's John Pollock here with John Ramdine and Robin Black. Some news that came out late on Friday from UFC President Dana White. That is the addition of former middleweight champion Anderson Silva to the upcoming UFC 208 card on February the 11th in Brooklyn. And Johnny will be taking on Derek Brunson. Do you like this fight?
I don't mind this fight, but, based on what we're seeing, Cody Garbrandt's the new 135-pound champion. BJ Penn gets decimated. We're seeing all these young guys and their new technology take over mixed martial arts. Is Anderson Silva going to be a victim of that? Now, does Derek Brunson, does he have that technology? Well, we know he trains with some of the best guys in the world, and we know he'll have an answer and a strategy for Anderson Silva. But will we see that old guard, that last generation of mixed martial arts stars, will they be finally dying out?
It's going to be interesting. When Brunson was going on that string and knocking guys out, it was subtlety and it was impact. So, you talk about Yair, he played with the space between he and BJ and made it unfamiliar to BJ. I like the way that Brunson is going in and bashing and battering. So cutting you off, finding the right situation, and really building force. If Anderson wants to use his arms to kind of block some of these kicks, it won't be long till one of them doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's a very interesting fight for me. I really like Derek Brunson. I really like watching him. I like how his game is slightly different. Yes, he is really good in the chaos, really good in the matrix, but he's finding ways to put himself into positions of balance to deliver with a ton of power. And that's going to be scary for a guy in his 40s, even a guy as great as the Spider.
It's hard to really give any credence to Anderson's last fight, which was just a couple of days' notice against Daniel Cormier at light heavyweight to salvage that fight at UFC 200. And then we go back to his last middleweight fight, which was just about a year ago against Michael Bisping as well. I mean, we still can see Anderson Silva competing at a very high level, which I think it's a testament to Anderson Silva, especially after we watched BJ Penn on Sunday. And age can be very difficult to overcome in this sport, and here is Anderson Silva that I think you could debate very much if he can beat a Derek Brunson. I think that's a feather in Anderson Silva's cap in 2017 if he can do so.
Very true, but you mentioned both Cormier and Michael Bisping. Those guys are also very, very close to 40 years of age. So, although Anderson Silva was competitive against Daniel Cormier, Cormier still understood it's Anderson Silva. This guy's doing me a favor. I'm sure he was going out there to try to take out Anderson Silva, but I'm sure the myth of Anderson Silva is still in his mind. He's getting ready for John Jones. All these different things were happening, and we saw how dangerous Anderson Silva still was late in that fight, landing that body kick against Cormier. But again, we talked about the miles, we talked about experience and motivation, and so many factors. Does Anderson Silva, is he still able to compete?
There's so many things about age. Some are just myths. Some are just plain wrong. Some are true. There's truth to what happens as you age. One of them, power is the last to go. That is bullshit. People say that because one old guy will knock a guy. Oh, see, power's the last to go. They never show the 47 other old guys who have no power anymore. A lot of these myths happen just because we say them and then we think they're true. But there are certain things that are true. You become more experienced. You become smarter. Time appears to move a little slower, but you also move a little slower. You're not quite as physically able. So you lose some in the physical and you gain some in the mental. Anderson Silva has always been a very smart, very technical, very talented fighter. So he'll still be that. Potentially his experience will give him even more. But if he slows down or if he's a little flat-footed, if he has a hard time making a miss, that's a bad sign. And there's advantages of age, and then there are physical disadvantages of age, and that's what he has to bring into this fight.
Did this card need an Anderson Silva addition to it? It's a card that certainly they have been in, just trying to find whatever pieces they can to put this show together. Anderson Silva is certainly a star. I don't know if Derek Brunson is necessarily elicits that kind of excitement of, if you were to tell me Anderson Silva has 2 to 3 fights left, I don't think anyone's saying, hey, Derek Brunson should be one of those fights.
I understand what
it's
you're saying.
Dangerous fight for Anderson as well.
Exactly. What I look at is, I saw the comments about BJ Penn going into his fight. People are like, how in the world is BJ Penn headlining a fight? The guy hasn't won a fight since 2007, blah, 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 blah. And same thing can be said with Anderson Silva. The fact is, he's just a big name because of everything he's done in the sport. And yes, I guess if you're a fight fan and you know the name, you might go there to watch Anderson Silva. But what are we talking about here? Are we looking at Anderson Silva trying to make another run at a 185-pound championship? Or is it just whoever they can find me to fight, I'll fight. I win or lose.
I feel that's it.
And
it's a major star. I think this Brooklyn card, it did need some injection of star power. Anderson represents that.
And for us, the viewer and the fan, we knew, these older guys need to make changes to beat this new crop. We knew that about BJ, and he said he did, and he said he was ready, and Greg said he was ready. So we wanted to believe that, and we cheered for him. And if he's fighting again, we'd cheer for him again, because it's BJ Penn. We got to kind of take the same thing here. Anderson Silva must have become a better fighter. And I know that's a lot to say when you're talking about the best fighter of all time, but such is the game. We talked about it earlier. It's on our YouTube channel. Ben Saunders would easily beat the Royce Gracie from UFC 1, easily, because the game changes like that. And the best Anderson Silva, at his peak, I think could lose this fight. So he needs to be even better than that in some ways, smarter, more evolved. And we need to hope, if we're cheering for him, that he has done that, and go get him.
So it will be almost exactly 10 years to the day of his fight with Travis Lutter, guys, when he faces Derek Brunson. To put it into perspective, going down February the 11th at UFC 208 in Brooklyn.